It's the SNL Hall of Fame podcast with your host, Jamie Dew, Chief Librarian Thomas Senna, and featuring Matt Ardill. And now, curator of the hall, Jamie Dew.
All right, thank you so much, Doug DeNance. It is a thrill to be here back in the SNL Hall of Fame on the SNL Hall of Fame podcast. My name is JD, and welcome. Before you come on in, though, please do me a favor. Read the mat. Wipe your feet. The SNL Hall of Fame podcast is a weekly affair where each episode we take a deep dive into the career of a former cast member, host, musical guest, or writer and add them to the ballot for your consideration. Once the nominees have been announced, we turn to you, the listener, to vote for the most deserving and help determine who will be enshrined for perpetuity in the hall. And that's how we play the game. It's just that simple. Now, one of the things we do before we play the game is we talk to our friend Matt Ardill and we get some trivia. But before we do that, I think it's important we note that we're going to be talking about Adam Driver today. I got to tell you, he's one of my most favorite guests of this new era, this new generation. It would be Mulaney and Driver for me, for sure. I could see them both being in the hall at some point. It'll be interesting to hear what Ashley Bauer has to say in terms of building a case. And we're thrilled. So let's walk down the hall and talk to our friend, Mr. Ardill. Oh, Matt. Adam Driver.
Yeah. One of my favorite hosts, to be honest. 6'2", born November 19th, 1983 in Fontana, California. Did not expect him to be a Californian. I don't know why. Just doesn't have that. Just doesn't have that California energy. He attended Mishawaka High School and the University of Indianapolis before going on to graduate from Juilliard. This is another Juilliard grad who appears on SNL. He has had 57 acting roles, 6 soundtrack credits, and 2 producer credits. As a youth, he appeared in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, Into the Woods, and Guys and Dolls. He's one of those people who's when you see an actor and they just have depths that you didn't expect.
Yes.
Because they have lived experiences. And I feel Adam is one of those. He worked as a door-to-door vacuum salesman. He applied to Juilliard, was rejected, so decided, what the hell, I'll join the Marines, where he was a Lance Corporal before being discharged due to an injury prior to deployment that made him unable to go into combat. So he decided, what the hell, I'll try Juilliard again, and this time was accepted. Does not like to watch his own performance and will decline to watch them in interviews because he just does not like seeing himself on screen. He's been nominated for Oscars in Lincoln, Black KK Klansman. I don't know how to pronounce the Spike Lee movie. Yeah. Yeah. It's the 3 Ks. It throws me off. Right. And Marriage Story, of course. His wife is actor Joanne Tucker. Her grandfather is the politician Henry Tucker, who is considered one of the most important politicians in Bermuda history, who led the first government of Bermuda in 1968. Watching his roles, it's clear he's a bit of an intense person, because after watching Fight Club, he actually came away with the wrong lesson and decided to start a fight club in his high school. Yeah, so that was a choice. Now, he did appear on Broadway in Mrs. Warren's Profession and Man and Boy before going on to appear in Girls. Growing up, he was raised by a father and a stepfather who were both preachers, who had him sing in the church choir which he doesn't really show off to the best of his ability inside Llewellyn Davis, which is, to be honest, where I first fell in love with him as the singing cowboy. But he's actually a very talented musician. And in that episode where he played the piano on SNL, he actually played the piano. He does know how to play the piano. Now, he's gone on to found a charity called Arts in the Armed Forces with his partner, a nonprofit that brings art to the active duty service members around the world and support staff free of charge. Together they have a son, but he actually kept it hidden for 2 years before the New Yorker finally let it slip in 2019. Huh. So he is a man of many nuances and layers.
Sounds that way. What an onion he is.
Yeah.
You know, when I carve into an onion, I often cry. And when I listen to a Thomas conversation with a guest, sometimes too, I often cry. Let's go to Thomas now. Grab your tissues. How's that for a segue, Matty?
Well, hello, JD and Matt. Welcome to another edition of the SNL Hall of Fame conversation. We are in the middle of a wonderful season 6, continuing that today with a great nominee, one of my all-time favorite hosts. I'm going to be upfront about how much I like today's nominee. It's Adam Driver, of course, and I'll be upfront about how much I like today's guest as well. A very special guest, first-timer last season with Kate McKinnon, who I think we'll probably get in this year. I mean, a little soon after her tenure at SNL to get into the SNL Hall of Fame. I guess the voters decided that, but I think ultimately Ashley will have gotten Kate McKinnon into the Hall. Ashley joined me and Jeremy on a roundtable at the end of season 5, so this is her third appearance to the show. So Ashley Bauer, thank you so much for joining me today on the SNL Hall of Fame, Ashley.
Thank you so much for having me back. I'm kind of working my way toward my own 5-timers club, hopefully. That's the goal.
Slowly but surely. Yes, you'll get there. You were very impressive in your first go-around, so I had to have you back this season. I've been following your exploits on Instagram, I'm not going to lie. So you're a world traveler, you're a Taylor Swift fan, so why don't you tell me, like, how's your summer going in both of those regards, Ashley? I'm kind of jealous.
So it's a little bittersweet. So yeah, I went to Paris to see Taylor Swift at the Eras Tour in May, and it was everything I thought it would be and more. Like, it was like being in Barbie Land. Everybody supports each other. It's women supporting women, and it's this like happy, wholesome environment. And she's just such an incredible performer, and she was so amazing. And I was so depressed after the concert was over that I couldn't accept the fact that I would never see an Eras Tour concert again. So I immediately booked another trip with a separate friend. And we were scheduled to go see her in Vienna just a couple of weeks ago. But if anyone was watching the news, they saw that the Vienna shows did not happen. Just terrorists or whatever. No big deal. Wanted to blow up the venue. So very grateful. Shout out to all of the national security agencies in that country and whatever other countries may or may not have assisted, because I'm here to talk on this podcast with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, love traveling. You're right, 100%. As often as I can get out of the country and go see somewhere new, I'm going to do it. And if I get to combine it with Taylor Swift, like, what better trip could I plan? So yeah, made the best of it, even though we didn't actually get to see her in concert, but got to explore. Still did some kind of musical stuff. We went on a Sound of Music tour in Salzburg. So made lemonades out of lemons.
Yes.
And now I'm just back in the U.S., I guess. So.
Just back to the boring life.
Yeah, just normal, everyday, real world, not in Barbie Land anymore.
Oh, that's cool. So that's awesome. Like again, I'm like admiring your travels from afar, admiring your Taylor Swift adventures from afar. So I'm glad you've had a great summer, and I'm glad you're back here with me in season 6 to talk some Adam Driver. And I'm gonna be up front, Ashley. I think Adam might be in my top 10 all-time hosts. He's a 4-timer. I think he's already there for me. So I'm going to start the conversation with that to be full disclosure with the listeners. I think I have him as a top 10 all-time host. Is that aggressive on my part?
No, not at all. And I promise he's not paying me to say this or to just agree with him. But like, I 100% he needs to at least be in the 5-timers club. He is so natural. Like, it was like he was born to be an SNL host, or somehow, like, he needs to somehow be associated with SNL for as long as I'm capable of watching the show. So yeah, not aggressive at all. And I know we're going to talk a lot about why. He's just so freaking good at it. Like, it's hilarious. It's intense. It's everything.
Yeah, and I was doing this exercise because I made an appearance on the Saturday Night Network's host countdown this summer, and I was just kind of doing my list and going through the hosts and everything like that, and I surprised myself and was like, I really have Adam Driver this high? Well, I guess I do, and I guess I think he deserves it. So that's where I'm coming from. I think that's where both of us are coming from with this episode. So that's why I was so excited to do this one. So a little brief background on Adam. He did a little acting here and there till 2012. He started really getting breaks in 2012. He was in Lincoln, Francis Ha, the Greta Gerwig movie. Girls, though, was arguably his biggest break. So I first saw Adam Driver on Girls. Is that the case for you and your first exposure to Adam, or was it like somewhere else that you first saw Adam?
No, so unfortunately mine it wasn't until he got a little bit more mainstream. My first exposure to him was when he played Kylo Ren in Star Wars. And then it was kind of, going back and realizing that he had been like making his way through and kind of breaking through over the last few years. But all that to say, again, I thought he nailed that role in Star Wars. It was just so well done that, playing this just villain that you kind of like find yourself rooting for in like a weird way, which is terrible because obviously you're not supposed to do that. But right. I think just the way that he captures the whole essence, and as they build his story and kind of his arc and realizing, obviously he chooses very poorly at the end, but that there was something in there that was almost good. Yeah, and I'm not even really that big of a Star Wars fan. Like, probably upset a lot of people with how little I know about it. So very basic, very mainstream for me to say, like, oh yeah, he was so good in Star Wars. That's where I first got experience with him.
No, he was so good in Star Wars, though. He played that role really well. I think maybe, I don't want to speak for J.J. Abrams or Rian Johnson, but you think you were supposed to kind of feel something for him, and especially with the backstory with Luke and all that, it's like, okay, maybe he kind of had a point as far as how angry he was, but Adam played those nuances really well, so definitely like made his really mainstream mark playing Kylo Ren. On Girls, he really stood out because Adam has this unique look about him. Like, he doesn't look like the classic, and this is said with love, like, he doesn't look like the classic handsome Brad Pitt, George Clooney, movie star Clark Gable kind of person. Like, Adam has a distinct look about him, and that came out in Girls. He was like just this kind of aloof guy who Lena Dunham's character had an on again off again thing with, and you could see like even then like some of the comedy chops, and I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was. So he played intense really well, but then some of the stuff he said was like low-key really funny in Girls. So there were signs there for him being a good SNL host, I should say.
Yeah, I think once somebody gave him the platform and gave him the opportunity to really flex those comedy muscles, like, yeah, he just needed somebody to give him that chance and let him demonstrate it. I'm so glad they did.
Yeah, that's what happens sometimes with people who aren't known for comedy, and that's what I wanted to ask you, just like in a general way. Like, what's your initial reaction when someone is tabbed to host for the first time but isn't necessarily totally known for comedy? Like, is the anticipation still there for someone like that?
I think so, because I think I've learned over the years that some people just really surprise you in a really great way about it. And I know, like, several years ago, the first time Mark Wahlberg did something with comedy, I was so shocked. Shocked that Mark Wahlberg didn't just do a comedy movie, but absolutely nailed it. It was so freaking funny. And so I kind of use that experience to give other people like Adam Driver a chance. Because I admit, because all I knew about him at the time was Star Wars. When I first saw that he was hosting, I thought, okay, this, he's big, he's popular. I see why they brought him in. But oh my gosh, just even from the beginning, his first time coming out with the monologue, like it was like he had been there before. It was so surreal to me. It made me forget that was his first time hosting.
Yeah, there's a comfort about it that you can see. As SNL fans, we can see some sort of comfort level or some sort of fit, I think, right off the bat. And something that I've learned, Ashley, since I've been an SNL fan for going on almost 35 years now, is that like the best hosts, in my opinion, are hosts who are really good actors. So like being good at sketch to me isn't just about having a sense of humor. It's about being a great actor and having like timing and things like that. And Adam Driver happens to be a great actor and has a sense of humor. But I think a lot of those quote unquote dramatic actors, people who are really skilled at that, are really good SNL hosts. Because I think you need to be a good actor to be good in sketch and not just funny.
Oh, I completely agree with you. And I think that's what makes Adam so successful, is because he has the training and the just mixed with the natural talent of 100% committing to a role in a situation and just completely dedicating to it. And I think because of that, and I think you see this too in so many of his sketches, I keep trying to look for when he's going to look at the cue card and I can never find it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I kind of wonder if I'm making myself believe that his eyes moved just because I'm trying to catch him. I'm like, I don't think he does. I don't think he's ever looked at a cue card. And if he has, then he's completely fooled me. And I think that commitment, is dedication to memorizing his lines, to completely go all in with whatever sketch they've given him, has really been a huge part of why he's been so successful in his hosting gigs.
Yeah, 100%. And then we saw that, as you had mentioned, his first hosting gig was season 41, episode 10, musical guest Chris Stapleton. And his monologue, like he was comfortable. They played off the whole Kylo Ren Star Wars theme. He was promoting The Force Awakens. But I thought it was really cute just to kind of like get to know the host. You had some Bobby and Taryn, and Leslie had a funny appearance there. But those first monologues for these new hosts, it's like, I love when they're just up there and loose, and maybe playing with I think it helps them if they're playing with the cast a little bit, even in the monologue. Ashley, I don't know if it's something that you noticed at all.
I actually was thinking about that for one of his kind of later monologues too. Is his ability to play off other cast members, the band, the camera, just working the different camera angles so naturally. I think that really shows, and it helps show the audience how comfortable they are from the get-go if they're able to come out and immediately start bantering with these professional SNL comedians, and he was able to do that.
But it really is an honor to be in Star Wars. Never ever will you find a more devoted fan base. They're very intense.
I know. Star Wars fans, ridiculous, right? Quick question. What happens in the next film, Adam?
I can't tell you that. They won't even tell me that.
Oh, you can't tell me because the audience is here, right? Okay. I'm going to ask you at the after party, though.
No, you won't. I've been dealing with this all week. Oh, hey, Bobby.
Leslie confused him with Minnie Driver. So she asked him why he wasn't in The Martian with Matt Damon, because she thought Minnie Driver was in Good Will Hunting with Matt Damon. Why wouldn't you be in The Martian with Matt Damon? So he had to correct her. But fun monologue. I think this is a fun episode for me, really fun episode for me. So, but I'm going to throw it to you. From this first episode, what stood out to you?
Oh my gosh. Again, so many. Since I'd only really known him from Star Wars, I thought that undercover boss sketch was immediately one of the greatest of all time. Like, it was so brilliant. The concept was genius. Shout out to the writers of that sketch. But again, like, his ability to, bring Kylo Ren alive into this, like, comedic realm was so hilarious. And as a lawyer, shout out to all the lawyers who got the rights to let him do that, because thank you. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this sketch. But, yeah, he was so freaking intense in that, and it ended up being so funny. And I think in the moments where he wasn't even really trying to be funny, he was just playing Kylo Ren because of the setting that they had and the concept of what they were doing, just made it immediately funny. Even when he was, pained and trying to, like, talk to the camera, do the interview off screen, he's like, I'm really looking forward to meeting everybody. Like, it just pained him to have to say it.
This week, Kylo is going undercover among Star Killer base personnel as Matt, a radar technician.
You get so caught up in restoring the galaxy to its rightful state that you miss what's going on behind the scenes. I'm looking forward to having some real talk with some real folks.
But shout out to everyone else who kept up with him in that sketch, too. Bobby Moynihan, Taran Killam in that as well. I think that was such a huge standout from that episode.
I thought hilariously intense. That was like a phrase that came to my mind, was Adam was hilariously intense in this sketch. And Taran saying that he's 90% sure that Matt is Kylo Ren, but then cutting to him telling a sob story to presumably to get money from Kylo, because he kind of knows how these shows work. So he knew it was Kylo Ren, and he's just kind of like laying it on the sob story so Kylo would like give him something. Like Matt, Kylo Ren as Matt, the radar technician, using the Force to choke Bobby's stormtrooper. Just all these fun beats. It's like a modern classic, and this is his second sketch as host of SNL, and he turned in like a modern classic right away.
Yeah, exactly. Just right out of the gate, gold. Like, I was just so impressed.
So that's Undercover Boss, Star Killer Base with Adam as Kylo Ren. One that I wanted to throw out there for sure, and maybe I'm showing my Vanessa Bayer bias too, because she's great. I'm the biggest Vanessa Bayer fan on the planet. The Golden Globes pre-tape. And again, one of those, and SNL did it really well around that time period, where they showed like a really cute, subdued scene and then kind of juxtaposed it with something intense that was happening. So they like to do pre-tapes that had like that kind of that back and forth. So this one, it was Adam and Vanessa. They play a couple who just won the Golden Globes award, and they have a wild night on the town. And then their kids, played by Kyle Mooney and Kate McKinnon, are just at home kind of waiting for them. When are mom and dad going to come back, and this and that. And they're just like peaceful, about to go to sleep. And just all hell breaks loose in this pre-tape. And it's one of my favorites. And I don't know how much SNL fans go back to it, but they really should. It's just like a favorite pre-tape of mine from this era, Ashley.
I agree. Oh my God, it's so funny. You're right. I loved the contrast of this. Yeah, wholesome. Like, if you're watching, go to bed. And it transitions, into that, oh, yeah, like, what is actually happening when people say that there are kids, going to bed and then waiting for mom and dad to come home. And then the just absolute shift to them doing cocaine off of the trophy. And like, do you think mom and dad miss us? And like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to us. Yeah. Forgetting about their kids. But I think what made this so funny, oh my God, yeah, Vanessa Bayer, agreed. She's lovely. She's amazing. I think this shows Adam Driver's range again, that like his classical training and acting and his ability to bring that into, like, bring the intensity into this sketch, because he also starts as this cute, like, kind of dad, and he's thanking everybody, and then he, picks the fight with Keenan, and Vanessa's yelling at him, like, be a man for once and hit him, and just completely escalating this whole situation.
Whoa, guys, sorry. Stars only.
You, man! Don't push my wife!
Be a man for once, Kevin. Hit him!
You don't want to hit me, sir.
Hold on to your hats! You're about to get pounded!
I thought
he
that was so
off
impressive.
like Vanessa's left there to deal with security, and Adam just runs off.
He ditches her.
Yeah.
Yes, so good. Yeah, I just thought that right off the bat, that shows his range. That he could, again, just like with the undercover boss sketch, be so intense, but make it so funny.
Yeah, they ended up presumably having a fun night with Liev Schreiber as well. After Adam is talking about seeing him at the urinal and everything, and the next morning, Adam and Vanessa are passed out on the couch, and Liev Schreiber's in the kitchen, shirtless with an apron and making eggs in the kitchen.
And the kids are like, he's like, you can get yourselves dressed for school, right? It's probably best if you guys go do that.
Yeah, he asked the kids, "Do you guys like eggs?" They're like, "What is happening?" Like, "Oh, good, Mom and Dad got home. They fell asleep, and they're just like strewn about on the couch."
Vanessa's boob is like hanging out of her dress. Like there's still cocaine on Adam's face. Like it's perfection.
Yeah, it's just madness. Yeah, the Golden Globe sketch. One that kind of like amongst a lot of those pre-tapes, to me, it kind of slid a little bit under the radar. But I think if you know, you know, and that one's a great one. There's one, and I don't know, I might put you on the spot, but there's one in this episode that screamed Ashley to me. I don't know if we're on the same wavelength, but one in particular screamed Ashley Bauer to me.
Do you want me to guess?
Yes.
Was it the Aladdin?
No, it wasn't, but I can see that as well. Yeah, talk about that.
I was like, that one, yeah. Big musical fan, obviously, big Disney fan. And so I get the fact that he could sing, and I know a lot of actors do have that training. I'm pretty sure he went to Juilliard. But for acting, that doesn't necessarily mean he can sing. But he didn't just sing with Cecily Strong. Like, he harmonized with her.
Right.
Right? I was like, oh, okay, all right, like, go off. Like, and again, just the commitment and everything. I thought that one was so fun because it combined my love of Disney.
Yeah, he's kind of a straight man.
Yeah, he is. And poor Cecily's getting, like, hit with a bomb, and, like, the plane, like, opens its, like, it dumps all the bathroom stuff on her, and she's just straight up not having a good time, and he's so oblivious to it. He just wants to sing his song. But no, what was the one that you thought was me?
It was America's Funniest Cats.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, no, that's spot on.
Because I know, like, it so reminded me of, like, late 90s, early 2000s SNL. With this, so it was Adam playing a kind of a nerdy weird guy named Finn Reynolds. He hosts a show where he does like kind of goofy voiceovers for cat videos, and then he has two French women on as guests, played by Kate and Cecily. So this was just like awesome, and I'm like, I don't know, for some reason I thought like I think Ashley might like this one.
Okay, wow, you guys do it a little different than us. We try to make the bloopers a little sillier, like with sound effects and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Ah ouais, comme boyoyoing.
Oh, oui, boyoyoing. Quelque chose comme ça, oui, boyoyoing. Okay.
We can try boyoyoing.
Oh, yeah, great. Throw some boyoyoings in there. I'm just going to roll a bunch of clips and you guys just go crazy, okay?
I guess, of course.
Okay. Boyoyoing. This cat has neurological disorder. She cannot gauge a distance between herself and the couch.
Boyoyoing.
Isn't that the one where, they played the French women and they're just completely like, I don't want to make anybody mad, but like what they portray in the media as being traditional French women.
Yeah, like
with
more
their
nihilistic.
Attitude of just ennui.
Yeah, they're like they make fun of the cats. They're like kind of have more dark humor. Yes. Everything like the cat is doing that. The cat's about to probably like die in the video. Like even if they're doing the cutest thing, they're like, so, yeah. But Adam plays this really fun nerdy guy. That's again like almost he's a outlandish character in his own right, but he's almost in a way like a foil or like a straight person to them. Their voiceovers are a lot darker than Adam's, so he's a good like foil to like the dark voiceovers that Kate and Cecily provided.
It was almost like an anti-Sprockets, where like instead of the host being super dark and intense, like the guests were, and the host is just trying to be like, just kind of this awkward, nerdy, like funny guys doing these cute videos, and then these women come on and completely like, well, maybe that's not exactly what I intended.
I absolutely love that comparison to Sprockets, like the inverse Sprockets. Like that's so good. Yes. What a great pull.
Anytime I can shout out to Mike Myers, like I'll find a way.
Yeah, you're talking to someone who, when he was a little kid, dressed up in like a black turtleneck and pretended to be Dieter from Straw Kids. So I just made Ashley choke on her wine, I think. So I'll spit out of her nose.
I can see that, and that must have been before we met. I know we've known each other a long time, but the fact that I never got to see this is so disappointing.
I'm glad there wasn't, like, my parents weren't on social media at the time and taking pictures and post. Yeah, that would have been a mess.
We're older than social media, Tom, unfortunately, so you lucked out.
Gosh. This was a fun. I have one more. I don't know if anything. One actually that really surprised me from this episode, but I don't know if you have any shout outs, any more shout outs from his first hosting gig.
No, I'm not gonna lie, the undercover boss one stood out. Oh, wasn't this also the season where he was playing the football announcer and Pete Davidson gets absolutely like laid out and breaks his legs? That was another really good one.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's not so much the star of that, like he's kind of a side person in it. Yeah. But that one really stood out to me from that episode as well.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was that was the first sketch of the night. Actually, that like led off the night after the monologue.
That's right. Yeah.
There was one I kind of forgot about, and I loved Adam Driver, obviously, before I started like going back and rewatching these episodes, but there was one called Awareness Seminar. It was Adam and Cecily and their class speakers talking about social puppeteering to the class. And the stories that Adam and Cecily are sharing are so good. And these stories are just like giving kids ideas about like elaborate ways to like mess with their classmates and make them like gaslight them and just thinking certain things. And they're just like telling the classmates like, avoid social puppeteering and watch out for this, for example. And then they'll go into like a story about social puppeteering in the class is like, that sounds so cool. Like they're actually inadvertently talking the class into doing it. But it was just like a little gem that I had forgot about.
Okay, well, in simplest terms, it's manipulating others for your own amusement. Hijacking someone's reality to feel powerful.
Here's an example of something I did. In the 6th grade, I paid like 80 kids $1 to go up to this kid, Nathan, and say, hey, nice hat. So what's the problem? Nathan wasn't wearing a hat. If 80 kids say you're wearing a hat, you start thinking, maybe I'm wearing a hat. And watching him wrestle with that made me feel good. I took the most valuable thing he had, his mind. That's the idea behind social puppeteering. Any questions?
I don't think there was a dud in this whole episode. Like the last sketch of the night, it was 80s kid character who wanders into a porno scene.
That's right. Right. Oh my gosh.
So that's how they ended the night. Adam did a great job at bad acting in that sketch, but that's like, I don't think there were any misses his first hosting gig, which is rare for a first timer. Like sometimes even the great ones, you look at their first time and you're like, okay, there were like some bumps in the road, but I don't think there was like a bump in the road here, Ashley.
No, I agree. And I think this shows how much faith and trust that the writers had in him as well to give him such big sketches for his first time hosting. So whatever they saw early in the week, I think really built that rapport and that trust because they just kept giving him just like amazing sketch after amazing sketch. And again, he completely delivered on it. Like some of these, could potentially have been duds, but I think he kind of took them across the finish line. And I think this was also our first glimpse into seeing the comedic chemistry he was going to have with Cecily Strong. Like just how perfect they were in sketches together. They're so funny. And I'm glad that we got some more with them later when he came back.
Yeah, 100%. So it didn't take that long for him to come back. 3 seasons, which isn't that much. Season 44, he led off. It was the season premiere of season 44. And he wasn't done any favors with this one, I don't think, right off the bat, because they did such a long, it was a Brett Kavanaugh cold open. Matt Damon came on and played Brett Kavanaugh, and I enjoyed it, but it was so long. I think it just kind of messed with like the timing of the show and the tempo and the vibe. So that was kind of weird, like excited about the season premiere, but like the Brett Kavanaugh thing had just happened. the whole like the hearing to try to see if they would confirm him for Supreme Court justice. And so that was very topical, but it just went on for so long, and it seemed like they were just playing catch up the entire night. But there were like some good stuff, including arguably the best sketch of the whole era. One of the best sketches of the entire era happened in this episode. So still like a great outing by Adam.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, how do you follow Matt Damon playing completely, shout out to Melissa Villasenor, but white male rage character in Brett Kavanaugh? You're right. Yeah, it kind of did, monopolize the show. It took a really long time. And living in DC, I've gotten to see oral arguments now, and that has ruined me because listening to Justice Kavanaugh ask questions during oral argument, I'm sitting there trying not to giggle and break my bearing because all I can picture is Matt Damon playing him in Saturday Night Live. But yeah, like it was so hard, I think, to follow that, such an aggressive tone. Although, come to think of it, maybe Adam was the perfect one to follow that because he is so intense and aggressive, and we got... oh my gosh, what was the character's name? I remember Pete's name was like Mordecai in this.
Are you talking about Abraham H. Parnassus?
Yes, thank you. Oh my God, yes. So we get I think, one of the greatest sketches of the era, maybe all time. I think anyone I talk to about Adam Driver doing SNL, this sketch always comes up. I think more than any of the other ones, and for good reason. I keep talking about his commitment and dedication. Like, this is exhibits A through, like, Z right here. Everyone else is just dying and losing it in this sketch. Pete, especially, right in front of him. And he doesn't blink. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't hesitate. Like, just utter commitment to staying in this character.
Mr. Parnassus, why don't you tell us about what you do for a living?
Hear me now, children. For my occupation is of much import. For 82 years, I've been an oil man, a baron, some have called me. Now, what does an oil baron do? The answer? Crush your enemies! Grind their bones into dirt! Make them regret they were ever born!
Oh, sick!
Yeah, speaking of my shout out to Melissa Villasenor a minute ago, I think she kind of she's the perfect side person for this sketch because her reactions to him, oh my God, were so perfect. I think her reactions are just as funny as him playing this oil baron. Just like, yeah, like J.P. Higgins sucks. Like,
this is some of the best acting I think that Adam's ever done. Honestly, like in movies and girls, this Career Day sketch, can rival any of his best acting that he's done in movies, because commitment, he was yelling about like crushing your enemies and his feud with H.R. Pickens. I love these names for old oil barons too. Like, that's perfect. You mentioned Melissa. I think she was the one who said, "I want to be you when I grow up." And then Adam delivers perfectly, "And so you shall." He gets like all intense. It's so ridiculous. And Pete knew how ridiculous and awesome it was going to be, because as soon as Adam started, I think even before when he just came out, I think Pete just looked at him and was like, "Oh God," he like kind of started giggling.
Yeah, Pete loses it immediately. Adam doesn't even open his mouth, and Pete's completely lost it.
Yeah, I mean, this is beloved for good reason. Career Day, he plays again Abraham H. Parnassus, which is right up there with like Kylo Ren, whatever his character's name was in Marriage Story. I forgot. I liked him in that.
Yes.
Just anything. Adam from Girls, like, it just rivals to me. This rivals anything. Absolutely love this sketch. It is up there as far as like an essential, just amazing sketch from this whole era. So that's the first one that you got to shout out, right?
Oh, for sure. I want to know if he improvised the part toward the end of that sketch where he throws the bird down on the floor and starts impaling it with his cane, because everyone else's reaction in that room is of like genuine shock and terror, and then kind of like trying not to crack up. And I think it appears to me, based on those reactions, either they were just so perfectly committed to nailing those reactions, or that was improv, because they seemed to not know that he was about to do it, which I think makes
I always
it even
wonder.
better.
Yeah, that's Yeah, there's another one. You had mentioned that he and Cecily had developed a rapport from the previous episode. And another one I liked from this, again, total commitment. There's anger, drama on both Adam and Cecily's part. It was that coffee shop one where they're like, they're drinking Domenico's coffee that they were told they were told it was actually Burger King coffee. And just Adam and Cecily's just dialing it up. They're dialing up the anger, dialing up the drama all the way to 11. This is a fun sketch, I think.
But the fun thing is that you actually drank BK Joe.
Well, probably everyone else's is a BK Joe, but mine wasn't. I'm a Domenico's girl.
Yeah, my new wife is Domenico's girl.
Okay, sure, but that coffee is BK Joe. And get this, it costs just $1.99.
$1.99. You better take that back, you pervert.
Whoa. Sir, there is no need for that.
You fed my wife this garbage? Huh? This burger juice? How dare you? The day after our wedding.
You came here the day after your wedding?
And I'm already laughing because I loved this sketch so much that to this day, I will be out getting coffee with my husband, and if we go to a new coffee shop, I'll be like, I'm a Domenico's girl. And I just completely start cracking myself up again. And he's so embarrassed to be around me, my poor husband. No, he's great, but he just knows me so well by now. He knows to expect it. But yeah, every time, like, no, I'm a Domenico's girl.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's just sad it like Cecily does. And Adam found a true kind of almost like his twin on the show in some ways, just in Cecily. Like they worked off each other so well. Like we saw that with the Aladdin one before that, but yeah, this sketch is like they're fueling each other. Like neither of them are the straight person. They're just like building off the other one's anger and rage and drama, and it's fantastic. So we've learned today that Ashley's a Domenico's girl. So and that this is a fun sketch. Those were a couple highlights. I don't know if there's any more with this episode. Not many sketches, like I said, because it just got off to kind of a long start with a really long cold open.
Yeah, so I'm glad that they gave him so many good ones for his first hosting gig. Obviously, I don't know that they were this prophetic to know that they wouldn't really have this chance the next time he hosted, but I think it was okay to kind of have a little bit more of a dud, and at no fault to his own. But then, of course, the next time we see him, next 2 times we see him, I think they make up for it again.
Oh boy, do they! Yeah, no, this is like it seems like a classic episode. Season 45, so he comes back the next season. Season 45, episode 11. This one actually has my favorite monologue by Adam, and actually one of my favorite monologues of this whole era, I think. And Adam's trying his best to be chill, and he says he hates red carpet stuff because he's bad at smiling, and then he's like walking toward the camera and staring into the camera and stuff. But the whole conceit is just like, I'm just going to try to be chill for this monologue up here. And it's just Adam's can't do chill very well, Ashley.
No, not so much. And I think this shows how self-deprecating he is too.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we see this, they do this every now and then for those actors that maybe kind of get a certain reputation, in the media about how their personality is. And, they come on SNL to debunk, this myth that this is how they really are. But then ultimately, the formula of the sketch is to just really prove everybody right at the end of the day.
I'm not an intense guy. I'm actually very chill. So tonight, I'm just going to be myself, open up a bit, and be chill. Can we get some chill music? No, I don't like that. Can you play something else? Okay, I like that less. Can you go back to the first one? Okay, that's fine. You can hear that's better, right? Okay, good. Anyway, I'm very chill, and I'm just going to prove it. I'm just going to, take my time up here, be myself, and enjoy this moment.
Yeah, I think he does this so well, too, again, because, again, starting from the beginning, I'm super chill. 3 notes into the song that he asks the band to play. No, I don't like that. Change it. Like 5 notes into the second one. Actually, no, I like this less. Go back. It's just being this like demanding diva. And I know I talked a little bit earlier about like his first monologue and kind of how he was interacting with the other cast members. But yeah, this one, you're right. He's interacting with the band. He's interacting with the cameras. He does the awkward sit next to the audience member kind of thing and tries to, I can sit and talk to the people, and then just kind of gives him this action figure thing. And if I see this on eBay, I'm going to kill you. It's just, yes, you're right. So memorable, so funny.
Yeah, these are the types of monologues, in my opinion, that all-time great hosts do. Like, I can see Steve Martin, Tom Hanks, Alec Baldwin, like any of the all-time greats just holding court in a monologue like that, looking so comfortable, so confident. They're owning the main stage. They're owning home base there in Studio 8H. And this is just a throwback to, like, this is a monologue that I watch and I'm going, like, this guy is an all-time great. And this is something that makes me confident in calling him, like, a top 10 host ever, is because of something like this. Like, it was just so fun to watch. It's like one of those monologues, honestly, that, like, makes me reaffirms why I like watching SNL, because I get to see something great like this.
Yeah, and it's something that could have just completely failed if he didn't have the ability to carry it. Like, he carries this entire monologue that could have been so awkward. And just nails it. It's quiet, it's just him. He's interacting with these other people and entities, but they're not really engaging back with him. Like, he's carrying this whole monologue, and it's funny from start to finish. And I just think that, it really goes to show how talented he is at this. And it's so fun to see.
Yeah, people, you need to go back and watch his monologue from season 45, episode 11. To me, it's like up there with like some of the better like Martin Short monologues or hosts like that. It's pretty awesome. So I was in New York this weekend, and my wife and I were leaving our luggage at our hotel to go like do some sightseeing before we had to get back and then go to the airport. They told us how much it was. They said that they didn't take card, and I looked at my wife and I was like, oh man, I'm all out of cash. So that reminded me of such a classic sketch from this episode, Ashley. That was a little shaggy dog way to get to this Del Taco sketch.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Did you pick this sketch because of my prior comments about Kyle Mooney?
A little bit.
I mean, because part of me is like, oh, another Kyle Mooney sketch. But then a little, like, the evil part of me is like, oh, this entire sketch is, like, designed to absolutely humiliate him.
100%, yeah.
And I will say, I do end up feeling so bad for him by the end of it. When he's, like, fake crying. Because they make him say the line, like, 100 times over again, and it's still wrong. And they're just telling him how bad he is at it.
Yeah, let's hear it. Aw, man, I'm all out of cash. Aw, man, I'm all out of cash.
No, you don't want to kill yourself. You just want to taco. It should be like, man, I'm all out of cash.
Okay.
Now say it. Man, I'm all out of cash.
Man, I'm all out of cash.
No, you're not a pervert.
He's got to get out of his head.
I think we just got to beat the hell out of this guy.
No, we can't.
Crap.
I know, sorry, wait.
Adam plays such a great, like, he plays the VP of branding for Del Taco. They're shooting a Del Taco commercial. Beck's the director, Chloe Fineman. It's an early Chloe Fineman. I was surprised. I actually kind of forgot that Chloe was in this sketch. So it's early Chloe Fineman and Adam Kyle are playing these two actors. And Kyle has to say the line, oh man, I'm all out of cash. And Beck's trying to coach him. And then some of the stuff that Adam, as the VP of branding, says, like, you don't want to kill yourself, you just want a taco. Like, you're not a pervert. Like, just all these different things. Like, he looks at Beck and he's like, I think we just got to beat the hell out of this guy.
Yes. And then he's like, put your shirt on your head like Cornholio. Take your pants off.
Like Cornholio. I love that. Like, he just kind of slid that in. Like, we all know who he's talking about, the great Cornholio. Yeah. Like, that's... This is another classic. So, like, you could watch, I think, all 4 of his episodes, and I think there's, like, classics from the era in each one of those episodes. And to me, this is one of them. This Del Taco commercial shoot. Like, I think immediately, Ashley, like, I looked online when it happened, and people were like repeating that line like right away. Like, it became like an instant classic.
So whereas I say, "Oh, I'm a Domenico's girl," you're the, "Oh, I'm all out of cash."
No, it's like, "Oh man, I'm all out of cash."
Please don't make me do it like Cornholio.
You just crack each other up, drinking Domenico's while eating Del Taco. That'd be it.
Yes.
A fun time.
What else do you need?
They also did, Ashley, a sequel to a sketch that we both loved from his first gig, is The Undercover Boss, Where Are They Now? So how'd you feel about part 2 of this Undercover Boss?
I really liked it. It's always so hard to do a sequel to anything. I was just so happy to have him back. I didn't think it was quite as good as the first one. That may be an unpopular opinion. But I think I've probably just built up in my head so much, like, the perfection that is the first one that, there's no way to ever really compare it. But, yeah, obviously it was such a favorite. They knew they had to bring it back for the fans, and I'm so glad they did. Yeah,
well, it got a huge cheer. When the sketch started, it got a huge cheer. So we showed how beloved the last one was. Immediately, they showed Adam as Kylo, and everybody just started cheering because they knew what they were in for, pretty much. And then it has a gif that kind of lives on toward the end when he's giving that strained kind of thumbs up at the end of the sketch. So, if for nothing else, like, I thought this was a pretty good sketch, but then it, like, that thumbs up kind of lives on.
Yeah, and I mean, again, no shade to Adam Driver. I think he nails it again. I think it's kind of just more some of the other people. And again, Bobby Moynihan just not straight up sucks. Like, when you go from that to, like, everybody else, you don't have Leslie Jones anymore. You know, maybe I'm just biased again because I loved those actors so much. But yeah, if nothing else, at least now our world is blessed with that gif of the awkward thumbs up.
There's a series of sketches that I think Adam's like a perfect host to play. So it's the science room sketches, and he could play really annoyed, like, very, very well. So he plays the host of the science room. Of course, you have like Mikey and Cecily as their little kid characters who are just like the most annoying little kids. But isn't Adam not perfect for something like this?
Oh my God, yes. Because again, just his complete ability to... And he times the escalation of his aggression so well. Like, he doesn't come out of the gate at 100. Like, he really knows how to just dial it up a little bit more each time. And you see that with this. Like, at first he's, like, so happy about the kids and seems like, you know, a TV host that's going to be so natural in doing a science show with kids. And then just completely ends it with, like, wanting to absolutely murder these dumb children. And he's throwing the tape, like, through the window. Again, just Cecily, like, I think she helps carry that through, like, her comedic timing and delivery of the, you know, somewhat inappropriate comments about what her sister says about what happens in the science room.
Always, yeah. It's always something she repeats what her sister says.
What comes first in the science room?
The guy?
The guy?
Yeah, my older sister said the guy, like, always comes first. I don't know what that means.
Oh my God, no, that's not what that means. The guy does not come first here.
The girl comes first?
No, my sister said the girl never comes first.
It's safety. Safety comes first. That was an awful conversation we just had.
Adam had the best response. He just sort of casually goes like, "That was an awful conversation we just had." Just like the way he said it was like almost like the voice for us. Like, yeah, that was. I'm glad somebody like called it out. Yeah.
I love it. I love when SNL does that too. I think one of my favorite examples of that is again, kind of going a little off topic. I apologize. But the Larry David episode where they're doing the FBI training and Pete Davidson just simply repeats what Larry David said with this like incredulous, like, just demeanor. Like, did he just say, "Can a bitch get a donut?" And it's like the audience, yeah, you're right. It's just really repeating what the audience is thinking in that moment. And it seems so simple, but it's kind of, I think it makes the audience like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, this is funny because this is exactly what I'm thinking. And I think Adam did the same thing in this sketch.
Yeah, for sure. That's like a Mikey Day, Streeter Seidel kind of thing too. I think they like to have like the audience perspective in that as well. So just a wonderful the science room. They've done that a few times, and you need those like great actors who can like pull off that sort of frustration, that like escalating sort of frustration that Adam did. I have one more that I really love from this episode. I don't know if you have anything from his third hosting gig that we should go over.
No, those are kind of the big ones for me. I think we might be thinking about the same next sketch, though. The only other one I can think about from this episode.
No, mine was it's an example of a sketch that has a ridiculous premise and kind of really works because of someone like Adam. I guess Adam and Cecily again. And it's the Marrying Ketchups sketch.
Yes.
That they did at the end of the night. And it's just like, of course, at a restaurant, one of the closing duties, marry the Ketchups or whatever. So they're pretending to like have a wedding with the Ketchups. And so basically Adam and Cecily are playing these Ketchups. I think Kyle comes in as like Cholula or something, but this is such a dumb premise that I find really entertaining, and it's basically because of Adam and Cecily. So them as a duo, I find really entertaining, performing a like really dramatic dumb scene.
Wanda, I know you're only a quarter full and I'm 3/4 full, but together it won't matter. We'll just be one full ketchup.
No, we won't, because I'm not ketchup at all. I'm catsup.
What did you just say?
You heard me.
You're telling me I've been gallivanting around town with some cheap off-brand generic ketchup?
Don't you dare! You're not even Heinz, you dirty hunt!
You're really gonna call me a hunt in front of my family?
I love it because it's this, supposed to be like this dramatic, like, kind of almost Marriage Story-esque, you're right, and he's yelling at her, and the puns are just chef's kiss. Like, you're right, it could be so dumb, it could be so bad, but they nailed it. Like, I don't relish telling you this, but, like, it's, like, come on, like, please. And I think it was Heidi Gardner who was playing the waitress, who was,
Heidi 80 was the manager. I think 80 Bryant played the manager.
Yes. Yeah. And it's Cecily she kind of breaks a little bit when she like breaks off the label and reveals that she's catsup and not ketchup. And he's just appalled. And then they have the little like ketchup packet baby. I can't, like, everything about this sketch is so funny to me. But I do kind of like dumb humor.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, dumb humor is great, especially on SNL. It's like, I don't know, like the commitment just to really to sell something dumb is just like, it's one of the reasons why I do love the show, is just to see these, just sometimes to see these people sell the most ridiculous thing. And it's like, just putting themselves out there to look stupid and to have fun. Like, that's a lot of reason why I watch the show. And something like this, it's just like, it's perfectly executed in that.
Oh, yeah. And, like, when she starts kind of pushing back, she's like, well, at least I don't have to slap him on the back for him to perform.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's that. So we were both thinking the same thing. That's Marrying Ketchups. That was the last, it was like a 10-1. It was the last sketch of the night. Very great episode, his third one. We had a classic monologue. The Del Taco commercial shoot was classic. Some other like really fun sketches. Adam got to show his acting chops a lot in the medieval times sketch. Adam got to show like some really over dramatic, fun acting like Adam Driver does. So really, really strong third outing. People were clamoring for him to come back. It's just like he's showing that he's an all-time great already, but we need him back. And when they announced him and Kate hosting, I think they hosted like back to back. They were part of a batch of announcements. It was like, okay, we're in for something special. So Adam came back this past season in season 49, and I think one of these sketches was probably in my top 2 sketches of the season, and Adam played it perfectly. But this was like I think season 49 was maybe kind of an up and down episode, but to me this was like had a lot of highs compared to a lot of the other episodes of this season. But like when you saw Adam was coming back, like excitement.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, he came out just from his very first season of hosting and was so good at it. And he just kept getting better and better. Every time they've announced him, I've been so excited. I'm going to be even more excited if they announce him for a 5th hosting gig. But yeah, definitely always excited to have him back.
Yeah, so I think some fans felt like it was bumpy to start the season, and then we were like, oh, Adam's coming back and Kate McKinnon's coming to host. Like, so this really, like, I think rejuvenated a lot of people. And the sketch that I wanted to bring up first was like maybe my favorite sketch of the season. There's another one with Kristen. The Jumanji sketch was up there too. But Beep Beep with Adam and Andrew Dismukes essentially kind of facing off in this sketch. Like, Andrew's honestly my favorite cast member. To see Andrew and his weird humor, his kind of intense, silly humor play off of Adam so well in this sketch, which is like, it's kind of a dumb premise. Like, 2 guys are like putting their dishes on the table and saying, "Excuse me, beep beep." So they use the word beep beep, and then Adam and Andrew get there at the same time and they say beep beep, and then it starts getting tense. It's like a tense standoff.
I'm sorry, boys. Is everything all right?
Everything's fine, sweetie. I said, beep beep.
Nah. I said, beep beep.
No. I don't think you understand. See, I'm a little car right now, and I'm honking at you with my little horn. Beep beep.
You couldn't get 2 better people. 1, you couldn't get a better host. 2, Andrew was the perfect cast member to pull this off. So beep beep, Ashley, maybe my favorite sketch, at least in the top 2 of the season.
Oh yeah, I think that one really threw me off. I didn't think, it was going to be as good as it was when it kind of first started. Like, oh, here's another like holiday get together type sketch. They do these all the time. But oh my gosh, you're right. I do feel like Andrew Dismukes has been kind of this like dark horse, this silent assassin where you didn't really, he's so kind of like quiet and unassuming seemingly, that you think he's just going to be hiding in the background. But yeah, I remember being so impressed with how well he held his own with Adam Driver in this scene. Like, Adam is so intense. Yeah. He's so experienced. And Andrew Dismukes is still kind of new, and you could not tell. And I know you got a little of that too when he had that sketch with Ryan Gosling where Ryan's trying to like bail on the engagement.
Yes.
And I feel like you get kind of that same Andrew Dismukes with Adam Driver in the Beep Beep sketch. And yeah, like that same just perfection of escalating it at the right time. But also I think anyone who's been to like a dinner party with their parents was like, oh my God, yes. Like this is the cringy stuff that dads do with each other. But to see the twist of it turning into this like fight to the death is so funny.
One of them must relent or something like one of them. Yeah, it's just I'm a sucker just as in my time as an SNL fan. I'm such a sucker for silly premises that take dramatic tense turns. Like as you mentioned, It's a silly premise, dumb dads or just like goofy dads, I should say. Kind of doing their thing. And I just love when those types of slice of life kind of things take such a dramatic turn. And it's just tense. And you see Andrew looking at him, just staring into like Adam's soul. And it's like, I said beep beep. And then just like it turns like such like cold, tense, like, wow, okay, like that escalated. I'm a sucker for that, Ashley. Out of like the different sketch types, that's one of my absolute favorites.
Oh, yeah, I think it goes back to what we were talking about, the juxtaposition of, you know, where they, like, for the pre-tape, where they do something so calm and kind of sweet, and then it turns into this, like, epic, like, rage-type scene, you know, next, and obviously this is a little bit of a different formula, but you're right, the same idea, something that could be so dumb, but that everybody connects with, everyone thinks is funny, because they've executed it so well, and then you just have Keenan come in, and he shows his gun, like, just takes it from 100 to, like, 1,000,000. I just, oh my God. Yeah, perfect way to end it. Because sometimes I do take issue, you know, they're not really quite sure how to end really good sketches sometimes. And sometimes there's just this kind of awkward fade away, but not with this one, like start to finish. I think it's James Austin Johnson is one of the people in the back, like, kind of like, explaining, no, like this, once they've said beep, beep, you cannot relent, like you said, and it's just...
beep beep. I'll continue to spread the good word about this sketch because it immediately like impressed me and floored me. It was awesome. This episode was one of my favorites of the season, probably. You had him and Bowen as that gay couple that just told their friends like that they're trying.
I'm so happy for you. So tell all now. What's your plan? Are you going to adopt?
No, we're just gonna try.
So then you're doing the surrogate route. That's great.
Surrogacy, well, maybe down the line, but for now, we're just gonna try.
Yeah, so don't come knocking on our door either.
Heidi, Michael, Sarah, and Andrew were all asking them, like, so how are you adopting? He's like, no, we're just trying. Like, okay. Like, yeah, so I just love their, like, him and Bowen just kind of casually just throwing out that they're trying. So that was something else that stood out to me.
I mean, anything with Bowen, of course. He's so good at playing off anybody as well. Like, he's so versatile. I love it.
Yeah. What'd you think about this episode as a whole, and anything that you might have enjoyed?
Obviously, the beep beep was the one that stood out to me the most. The we're trying. The old friends one was really funny. The kind of like reaching out, hadn't heard from somebody in a while. Like, that one also kind of takes like a really dark turn. But yeah, I feel like this episode showed a little bit more that they don't always, like, the sketches don't always have to be him front and center. Like, he can also, I think, play like the side guy, the side person, and really still contribute and not just be somebody who's hiding in the corner, or they're not just throwing him in because he's the host and he wants a certain amount of screen time. And I think he ends up really contributing to everything that he's in, whether he's front and center or he's playing one of the side characters. And I think we've got probably a few more sketches, I'd say, where he was the side character in this one, or maybe even a little bit calmer sometimes.
Yeah, especially like toward the end. Yeah, there was like a PSA, which is like elderly people saying like, stop pranking me, basically. So you had all these elderly people. Yeah. And Adam was just part of an ensemble there. Tiny Ass Bag ended the night, and Adam was just sort of part of the sketch. But he's front and center when he's playing a baby on an airplane.
Oh my God, yes.
Adam's front and center for that one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, I mean, that's an example of a sketch that could go off the rails so quickly if the host isn't selling it. And Adam is selling it. It's just his face, because basically he's sticking his head through an airplane seat, and then it's like a little baby's body. So it's just Adam facial expressions, as far as like his ears hurt, and his mom is playing like a peekaboo, or not peekaboo, but like showing him his toy and like, where'd it go? And then Adam's like, oh my God. And he's just like, so this is just total like facial acting, just commitment, and another sketch that could really go off the rails unless it's like a confident, really great host.
Oh, I've been there before. Raised 3 on my own. How old is he?
I'm 11 months.
Oh, wow.
You mean 11 months in like 15,000 days?
My ears feel strange.
It's okay, honey. That's just the pressure from being up high.
No, my ears, they feel different. I don't like it.
It's okay. Here, do you want your iPad, sweetie?
The Peppa Pig device? That is the only thing I want.
And I think too, like this shows, like he's so willing to not take himself too seriously. Like the sketches that he's taken on and agreed to do, and then just absolutely nailed. I think shows that like he's not afraid of looking silly. He's not afraid of looking stupid. And you're right, kind of taking these premises that could be so bad, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll go along with that. I'll play along." Like I can totally see. He sees the vision and he brings it to life. And you're right, even it's just a head. Like a baby's head, and he's so freaking funny.
Yeah, that was when my wife and I were recently on an airplane. Because she had to miss the Adam Driver. She was out of town for the Adam Driver episode, so I was kind of explaining it to her again. I'm like, yeah, I got to show it to you sometime because it's Adam Driver and this baby, and she was getting a kick out of me just explaining it. So I think all in all, a good episode. We forgot. Like, the only other one was, like, Adam playing a chocolatier, selling his chocolates on Shop TV, and the chocolates are phallic-shaped, and they lean into that whole thing, and yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
He's playing it totally straight. He can't acknowledge what's going on, so that's, like, the key thing there, is you can't, you have to play that straight, and Adam did such a great job with that, so it could easily be, like, a really dumb, like, almost a Sweaty Balls kind of realm of a sketch. But, you know, Adam's a great host that pulls it off.
Yeah, you're right. It is very Sweaty Balls-esque, especially, you know, like the phone calls, like, keep ramping up, you know, the more that he keeps talking, and the complete just obliviousness to what is happening and what he's saying. Oh my god, I almost forgot about that. I also realized I've been missing an opportunity with all of my international travels this summer to recreate Adam Sandler as a baby on a plane. Like, I should just start screaming and completely acting.
Then your husband would be really embarrassed. That'd be like peak embarrassment. So I don't know. For his sake, I'm not sure about that. But if you do, video it.
Okay, maybe I won't post that to Instagram after all.
But yeah, so season 49, maybe a little bumpy. I don't know. There was some hit or miss, but I think that overall this was one of the better episodes of the season. Not surprised when it comes to Adam Driver. So when we alluded to it too, so he hosted in season 49. Is season 50 too soon for him to come back and be a 5-timer? Like, one, is it too soon for fans? Do you think like, oh, we've already seen him last season? And do you think it'd be too soon for the show to want to bring him back?
Because I feel like they bring Mulaney back so often, like, and so close in time to his last hosting gig. So I don't know that they're just, like, automatically, like, opposed to bringing somebody back, like, too close in time. Again, a little bit different with Mulaney. He does bring a different vibe. And you don't really need Mulaney to be, like, promoting anything. Whereas I could see them maybe just wanting to wait, or maybe even Adam's agents wanting to wait so he can come back when he has something to promote. I wouldn't personally be mad about it. I don't think fans, again, you know, Adam Driver fans would be opposed to him coming back so soon. But maybe, building up the anticipation at maybe at least one more season, and then being able to line up, you know, whatever big names you're going to call in for his 5-timer episode, and really be able to take the time to do that one justice and do it well.
Yeah, you got to do it well if and when he becomes a 5-timer. That needs to be like a special one, because he's an all-timer host, and I don't say that lightly. I don't just bestow that on anybody. Really, he's like a top 10 host for me. I think he's going to go down as that great of a host. So, I mean, I would love season 50, but you're right. Maybe season 51. He's always working. So he's always like has something. So there's going to be some reason for him to go on SNL, because it seems like he's in something all the time. He pops up everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's not like we're going to have to wait very long. I think, personally, if we're going to do a 5-Timers Club episode for him, they've got to call in at least Mark Hamill, if not both him and Harrison Ford. I mean, you've got to get...
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, you've got to still do the Star Wars thing, even though he's done a bunch of other stuff since that. I think, you know, because it's usually such a fun time for them to bring in, these cameos of these such huge names. I think that would be so fun.
Yeah, agreed. I can see Mark Hamill doing it. Harrison Ford can be a little bit of a grump.
Yeah.
So especially when it comes to Star Wars, he could be a little grumpy about that. I think he was happy when Han Solo got killed off. Spoiler alert. I think Harrison Ford was happy about that, honestly. But that would be so special. But I think just try. Yeah, they should try to do something like that.
Well, I think that's what would be part of what would make it so epic, is the fact that he would, if they could, that he would show up for something like that. I think would really just make the audience reaction even bigger.
Yeah, I completely agree. All right, so now's the time. You don't have to convince me. You'd be preaching to the choir here because about Adam's Hall of Fame candidacy. But there's voters, listeners, SNL water cooler folks that might need some convincing, especially because he's like a active sort of person, a recent, if you will. So why should voters consider Adam Driver for the SNL Hall of Fame?
Oh my gosh, for all of the reasons that we just talked about, like his range, his commitment, his dedication. He's just so natural. Again, I'm a little bit biased. He's a veteran. I'm currently in the military. So, really proud that not only is, he kind of brought such a positive spin to it, but he started that nonprofit, Arts in the Armed Forces, really trying to bring art and theater to service members and veterans and kind of help get their foot in the door to kind of do what he did is, hey, there's life after the military, and there's so many people with all of this talent kind of hiding there, and they just need kind of the push. So he's philanthropic. He supports the troops. But no, in all seriousness, he's just so funny, and he's got such great range. And yeah, he's just one of those hosts that no matter what he's given, he's going to nail it. And I think you're right. That's what makes him land a spot on my list, too, of one of the greatest hosts of all time. And somebody that, if we're talking about him being a potential 5-timer, it's because he's got so much in his portfolio. So if you're on the fence, I just recommend going back and watching some of the sketches that Tom and I talked about, and even some of the other ones that we didn't. And hopefully you'll find what we did when we watch it and have the same positive experience that we did.
So there's that. I want to thank Ashley Bauer and Thomas for generating yet another stimulating and engaging conversation. This time about our friend Adam Driver. It sounds to me as though they have a similar feeling that I have. This is somebody who belongs in the SNL Hall of Fame. The only thing I think that may hold him back is the fact that it's only legacy hosts, Baldwin, Goodman, Martin, that are in as hosts. So Driver would be doing uncharted work, having really only worked with, the season 40 group. So there's that. Hey man, I'm all out of cash. Let's listen to a sketch.
And in my opinion, that's how we make the fire go away.
Oh, wow. Simply wow. Thank you so much to Samantha's dad for that enlightening demonstration. All right, class, to continue our career day presentations, we will now turn it over to Mordecai's father, Abraham H. Parnassus.
Dude, what does your dad even do?
I don't want to talk about it.
I heard he's like super old. Is that true?
I don't know. He's a dad. Dads are old.
Greetings, children. I'm Mordecai's father. Hello, boy. How are you? Look at your father, boy. Look upon your father with pride.
I see you, man.
All right, Mr. Parnassus, why don't you tell us about what you do for a living?
Hear me now, children. for my occupation is of much import. For 82 years I've been an oil man, a baron, some have called me. Now what does an oil baron do? The answer? Crush your enemies! Grind their bones into dirt! Make them regret they were ever born!
Oh, sick!
Wow, right into the dirt. Now, if the kids want to pursue a career in oil, what kind of traits would serve them well?
Oil is not for the weak. It is the earth's milk, and only the strong may suckle at mother's teat. You hear me, boy? Only the strong. Look at me, boy. Look at your father. Look at me.
Look at him, Mordecai.
Dad, this is embarrassing.
One man came close to breaking me, H.R. Pickens. He did not succeed. For I crushed him into the ground.
Who is H.R. Pickens?
Exactly.
Samantha, you gotta stop it, honey. Okay? Well, Mr. Parnassus, the oil business must be pretty lucrative, right?
Oil has little to do with profit, marm.
Okay.
Oil is about domination of the spirit. Allow me to demonstrate. Children, point to the weakest in your class, and we shall ruin their spirit as I ruined the spirit of H.R. Pickens so long ago. Word?
You are weak like H.R. Pickens.
Feel this boy.
Understand the pain. You think I was always the picture of strength that I am now?
Dad, you couldn't get out of bed for a week because the mattress was too soft.
Mind over flesh, boy. I was born 7 months too early. Incubation technology was still in its infancy, so they placed me in a cast iron pot inside of a pizza oven until I was ripe enough to walk. My bones never hardened, but my spirit did. Be strong and crush your enemies.
Well, this has been outstanding, Mr. Parnassus, but unfortunately we're running out of time. Boo! Now, does anyone else have any last questions for Mordecai's dad?
Yeah. I get that you're an oil baron, but what do you actually do all day?
Perhaps I was not clear. Luckily, I brought a visual aid which will illuminate the ins and outs of the oil industry. This dead bird represents those who would wish you ill, once proud, flying high above the earth in bloody defiance of her gifts. And now you return her to earth, naked and defeated. I have lived you, H.R. Pickens! I crushed you into the ground! And now your bones turn to oil beneath my living feet! I married your granddaughter! Filled her belly with my festering seed! And sired a boy! He is my final revenge, H.R.
Dad, come on!
I want to be you when I grow up.
And so you shall! Now, children, I was asked to bring a healthy snack, so join me in the hall for swine livers and Capri Sun.
All right, kids, go out and eat those pig guts.
You know, when you hear people talking about a performance versus writing, that is the culmination of two bits right there. The writing is right on point, and Driver's performance takes it over the edge. That's what we're looking for when we're looking for a Hall of Fame host. So, on behalf of Ashley Bauer, Thomas, Matt, this is JD saying, on your way out, if you could do me a favor, as you pass the Weekend Update exhibit, turn out the lights, because the SNL Hall of Fame is now closed.
Thanks for listening to the SNL Hall of Fame podcast. Make sure to rate, review, share, and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media at SNL HOF. This is Doug DeNance saying, see you next week.
do podcasts and such.